Every time I start to write a script for a game that's a sequel to a game that we've already talked about, I really have to stop to think about what I'm going to say that I didn't already say in the other video. And that's definitely the case with Saints Row 2, because it doesn't exactly stray very far from the formula of the first game. But while it still basically follows the same path, it improves on a lot of things and adds quite a few new things to make it feel different enough from the first game. But it also takes away a few things. Let's talk about Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2 picks up 4 years after the first game, with the player in a coma at the prison's infirmary. We start with character creation again, and there's a lot more options for just about everything this time around. You can be male, female, or somewhere in between, and there's all kinds of sliders to make your character look and act pretty much exactly how you want them. Even be able to select from a list of taunts, praises, and movement styles. But since the character models are different, if you want a character that looks just like your character from the first game, you'll just have to settle for close enough. While I do like the new character models and all the new character creation options, something about the faces just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what it is. They look off somehow. It's not really a problem, it's very much personal preference. You can even select a voice for your character this time with 3 male options and 3 female options, because unlike the first game, your character talks in this one, more than just one line per story. So like I said, this takes place 4 years after the events of the first one. You meet this guy Carlos, who helps you escape prison and tells you that the Saints are no more. The Row fell apart, and the Ultor Corporation, the same Ultor Corporation from the Red Faction games, gentrified it. On top of that, 3 new gangs, the Brotherhood, the Ronin, and the Sons of Samity, took over the city. And then you find out that Johnny Gat's on trial for murder, because of course he is. So you bust him out, and the two of you get to work on rebuilding the Saints. You aren't the playa anymore, now you're the boss. Joining you as your new lieutenants are Shondi, voiced by Eliza Dushku, Pierced, voiced by Arif S. Kenshin, and your new buddy Carlos, voiced by Joe Camarena. And of course, Daniel Day Kim reprises his role as Johnny Gat. A bunch of other characters make their return in this game as well, both major and minor, and coupled with the new characters, it makes for a pretty great lineup. Michael Dorn even joins the cast to voice Mero, the lead of the Brotherhood. Yeah, motherfucking Marcus and Worf. When we were talking about the first game, I said that I thought the overall story was serviceable but not great, and I still stand by that. But I also remember thinking back in the day that the first game had a much better story than this one. Having gone back and played both of them now, my thoughts on that are different. I think I only had that opinion because of the first game's ending, but with both of them still fresh in my mind now, I think Saints Row 2's overall story is much better than the first game's story. It's still got the basic beats of you building up your gang and taking over the city, but there are just so many more impactful moments while still managing to not take itself overly seriously. There's even a secret mission which gives a lot of context to the first game's ending. But any good game worth its salt is so much more than just a story, and the gameplay in Saints Row 2 is another thing that I feel is heavily improved over the original. A lot of improvements have been made across the board, the most significant improvements I think being in the activities. Respect and activities still work basically the same way. If you've never played a Saints Row game and you didn't watch that first Saints Row video, and you want to know how that system works, just go watch that and then come back. A few of the activities have been improved upon, and there's even a few new activities as well. There's only 2 locations per activity this time, with 6 levels each instead of 8. So let's break them all down. Demolition Derby is the same as it was in the first game, but now you get upgrade points to add offense, defense, and speed to your car as you progress through the levels. Still probably the easiest activity in the game. Like the first game, there's only 1 location for this activity, but after you finish it, you can unlock the Special Derby, which is a list of different derby types with specific vehicles and rules. You get cash for Special Derby, but no respect and no other rewards for it. Drug trafficking hasn't changed, which I'm fine with. It didn't really need much refining anyway. It can get a little on the tough side, but it's fine the way it is. Escort also hasn't changed, and it still sucks. In fact, it might even be a little more difficult, because the clients start making their stupid little requests at earlier levels. I still hate it. Insurance fraud is a lot more fun. It's basically the same, but with the added mechanic of the adrenaline meter. Fill it up by taking a bunch of hits, then you can use it to go super ragdoll mode and aim yourself at oncoming traffic for a whole lot of extra points. It's good times. Mayhem has also been slightly improved, giving you much better weapons, making combo multipliers a lot easier to do. It also highlights the district, so it's easier to tell when you're leaving and when you're coming in. The last level of each location is still tough as shit though, mostly because everyone and their mother is trying to kill you. Racing doesn't stick to the level structure this time. Instead, there's a bunch of different types of races scattered all over town that you can do for various rewards. Snatch also really hasn't changed. As long as you have a sturdy 4-door vehicle, you should be okay. Hitman and Chop Shop are still exactly as awful and RNG dependent as they were previously, and I still hate them. And like I said, there's a handful of new activities, some I like, some I don't. Crowd control sees you working security for some random unnamed celebrity, protecting them from crazed and often violent so-called fans. You get points for killing them, and you get more points for throwing them into specific bits of scenery, but that takes more time. The goal is to get a certain number of points before time runs out, or before the celebrity gets overwhelmed. The later levels can get pretty intense. You really won't have time to throw anyone before more crazed fans show up, so you have to just hope that the normal points you get for killing enough of them will be enough. Another new activity is Fight Club, but I can't talk about it. Them's the rules. So, you're just going to have to watch for a bit.
I won't do any damage. Your Undertaker won't be able to cover.
That's how we get it done in the Saints. Ah! I'm through taking the foot.
Buzz has you dressing up like a cop and taking part in a pretty extreme version of the show Cops, where you drive this cameraman around and deal with criminals in various violent ways to gain enough footage before the time runs out. I like it. Some of the criminals are even doing some of the in-game activities that you can do, like insurance fraud or Septic Avenger. Yeah, that's another new one. Septic Avenger has you riding shotgun in a septic tank, spraying buildings, people, cars, and other bits of property with dookie to do enough property damage before time runs out. This naturally gets you police notoriety, but it's never too much to deal with, and spraying the cop cars and SWAT bands and whatever else just adds to your total. This one's also a lot of fun. Trailblazing has you dressed in a fire suit, basically doing a checkpoint race while on fire. The idea is to hit all the checkpoints before time runs out, and hitting cars or pedestrians nets you extra time when you hit a checkpoint. You can hit gas trails or explosive barrels to hopefully hit a bunch of stuff at once and net a bunch of extra time. It can get a little rough, sometimes it feels like there's just not enough time, but all it really takes is a few retries and memorizing a good route. Speaking of retries, that is a huge improvement that this game's made to all activities across the board. When we were talking about the first game, I complained about there not being a retry button for activities while there is one for missions and strongholds. Well, they added a retry button for activities, and I could not be happier about that. Especially since the last level in each activity is usually pretty rough. And speaking of rough, there's Heli Assault. It is not my favorite activity. In fact, it's my least favorite of the new activities. Basically, you have to fly a helicopter and take out other helicopters or sometimes people on the ground. Taking out other helicopters is easy enough, but taking out people on the ground, not so much. It's not like you can land the helicopter and then leave it to take them out. You have to do it from the helicopter. And a lot of times you have to do it before they take out someone else. They're hard to see and even harder to hit. I kind of hate Heli Assault. There are a lot more ways to earn respect this time around by killing rival gang members in various ways, driving dangerously, car surfing. There are even more diversions this time around as well. You can pick up passengers in a taxi for extra money, driving an ambulance to help injured civilians, driving a tow truck, even doing the do in a bathroom can earn you respect. Gang tags and CDs also make a return, and there's also a number of stunt jumps to find as well. You can even play video blackjack or video poker at the casino, and at any one of your cribs you can also play an in-game video game called Zombie Uprising, which just has you survive as many waves of zombies as you can. Unfortunately, gone are the days of breaking into a store at night and taking the contents of their safe to a pawn shop, because in this game, the stores never close. I get why they did that. It was kind of annoying needing to buy ammo in the first game and just having to sit there with your thumb up your ass until the stores opened. But the diversion was still a good time, and I wish they would have kept some aspect of it. Speaking of cribs, there's a whole bunch you can get this time, and not just one for beating a gang storyline. You do have to buy them, but this game gives you a lot of money as you go on, so it's not really a problem. You can also customize them to increase your style rank, which increases the amount of respect you get from activities and diversions. Your gang also has their hideout in an old hotel underneath the city, which you can't customize, but it does get a lot nicer as you progress through the main story. You can also customize your gang's style, as well as the types of cars they drive. You really are in complete control here. Outside of cribs, you can also buy stores in any neighborhood you own to get more passive income and a permanent discount at that store, which stacks with any discount from a sale that the store might be having. So if you time your stuff right, you can get things for pretty damn cheap. Also improved, albeit only slightly, is the feel of the combat. Control stick aiming feels a bit smoother, so shots are made easier, and it feels like they've implemented a better degree of auto aim as well. They've even added a zoom button for every weapon so you can fine-tune your aim, and a cruise control button for vehicles so you can drive and shoot easier. The same weapons from the first game all make a return, but there are some new types as well. At one point, you can even get a minigun. There are a couple parts towards the end of the Ronin storyline where you're forced to fight in melee combat with a katana, and the whole idea is to parry attacks. I don't like this. It wouldn't be such a big deal if there was any other part in the game where parries mattered at all, or if there was any sort of build-up to this mechanic, but they're just like, here you go, here's a katana, you can't use anything else, and you have to parry to do any kind of damage. And it never comes up again. It's just strange. There's also a lot of different types of food this time around, as they've added a few new restaurants besides Freckle Bitches, but all the food basically does the same thing, which is heal you. Health regen is also still a thing, and it doesn't take quite as long to activate as it did in the first game, but it still takes long enough that you just want to keep food on hand whenever possible. And yes, you can still buy booze and weed. Which makes Saints Row 2 the only game in the entire world where you can get crossfaded as all hell, dress up in a hot dog suit, and go four-wheeling around inside of a mall, all for no reason. This is not one of the game's activities or diversions. You get absolutely nothing for doing this besides joy. This is just a thing the game lets you do if you put those pieces together. I love this game. Big step above the first game, which was already great, and oh so much better than 3 or 4. Oh yeah, don't worry. We'll talk about those eventually. But not now. In my video for the first one, well, the title anyway, I said Saints Row was a better GTA 4 than GTA 4, even though GTA 4 wasn't out yet when the first game came out. That title was mostly just hyperbole for the sake of a video title, but I wholly believe that's true for Saints Row 2, and apparently so did Volition. They had a whole Would You Rather marketing campaign for the game's trailers, comparing activities you can do in GTA 4 with the activities you can do in Saints Row 2. And I always really liked those. I thought they were great. I'm not sure if I can play one in its entirety without YouTube spanking me, but here, I'm going to show you a bit of one and hope for the best.
Would you rather go bowling or steal a septic truck and spray loads of sewage on pedestrians? Would you rather go to the cabaret with a friend or inflict serious bodily injuries to your friend to earn a little insurance money? Would you rather watch TV within the game you're playing on your TV or dress up like a cop and rob a liquor store?
The map of Stillwater is bigger than it was in the first game, with a lot of the areas being familiar but different, some being entirely different and adding in a few new areas that weren't there before. Getting from point A to point B, especially if it's clear across the map, still isn't especially interesting. Although this time you can unlock GPS shortcuts on your minimap by basically just stumbling across them. One thing that helped with this in the first game is being able to take the L train from point to point as a form of fast travel, but you can't do that anymore. The train is still there, it still makes its regular stops and goes around the map, but you can't ride it anymore, and I don't like that. I don't know why they felt they had the need to remove such a convenient feature. If you can find the phone number, you can call a taxi and have them take you to any existing point on the map, which is great and arguably an improvement over the L train. But I wish we could still take the train as well. It was cheaper than the taxi, not that money is a problem in this game, but still, having options is nice. The radio stations in this game are still pretty good. Some of the stations carry over from the first game, with some being entirely new, but there's still wide varieties of pop, rock, metal, hip-hop, and almost everything in between. There's probably at least one station you'll enjoy listening to, and if you want more of a mix, you can always go to Scratch That and get tracks for your in-game MP3 player. They also added autosaves to the game. After you finish a mission, or a stronghold, or a level of an activity, it autosaves. You can, and probably still should, manually save at any point from the pause menu, but no more going through an entire section and forgetting to save because you're just so used to autosave you can't remember a time without it, or making a bunch of progress just to have your console freeze, which doesn't happen to me very often unless it gets particularly hot, and the Xbox 360 does tend to get quite hot, but it does happen. Autosaves are a lifesaver, cherry-flavored. A very welcome and much appreciated feature. The performance on the Xbox 360 is pretty decent for the most part, but sometimes when there's a lot going on screen, the frame rate will just tank. It doesn't happen very often, but it is really annoying when it does. Unlike the first game, Saints Row 2 came out on multiple platforms. It was also out on the PlayStation 3 and PC. I can't speak to the PlayStation 3 port because I have zero experience with it, but the PC port is, well, it sucks a whole lot of butts. And not like good butts, we're talking your average Walmart shopper butts here. It has a tendency to run entirely too fast on any hardware better than what it was intended for. I think there was an update a few years ago that sort of fixed it, but I've also heard that it runs wildly different for every PC. Sometimes it runs fine for me, sometimes it doesn't. Your mileage will vary. So there we go, there's my Saints Row 2 video. If you want to join my Discord, where we talk about physical media of all kinds, and sometimes we play multiplayer games, and you can also watch me record footage for these videos, the link will be down in the thing. Comment down in the comment thing, and let me know what you think about Saints Row 2. Leave a like, or a dislike if you feel like being an asshole, and subscribe if you haven't already. Either way, I really appreciate every single one of you who watches my stupid little videos. The poll for the next one's up in the tab where polls go. I'll see you in the next one.